when we say that there should be a certain amount of search volume, when we say that there should be a certain amount of competition or less, when we say that, you should look at the population, I'm going to get to population in a second, but typically the population is tied to the competition. When we tell you certain things, when we say these niches are tough, when we say that these cities are tough, some of you guys aren't listening to us. Jeff gets on all the time. I know Jeff specifically. He gets on all the time with people and they're not generating leads. And they're like, I don't know what's going on. And Jeff's like, well, why the hell are you in New Orleans? It's a huge city, right? Most likely that's going to be very, very difficult. Why are you choosing the biggest cities in the state? Why are you in these massive, massive, massive cities? Why are you in Atlanta, Georgia? Yeah, it's most likely going to be competitive. So guys, just remember, number one, follow the freaking training because there's a reason why it's there. It's worked. It's worked so many times. It's made me a millionaire, and it is a training that works. But some of you guys aren't following it. You're doing 90% of it. You're doing 80% of it, and then you're like, it doesn't work. That's on you. Okay. So number one, guys, I want to talk about this because everyone asks, what about population? What about population? What about population? Technically does not matter. Okay. And in the training that I was given many years ago, they kept saying, you want to look at this certain population. You want to look at the certain population, because I don't believe in the population necessarily, because the demand is not always the same. And I always use this example, right? If I said to you, I'll give you a website that's ranked, ready to rock and roll, whatever, and I'll either give it to you in Minneapolis, okay? Minneapolis, Minnesota, which I know is a pretty decent population, pretty big population. In fact, I'll tell you what it is so you guys I can drive home this example. Minneapolis, how the hell do I spell this? Minneapolis population is in 2024 is what? 3 million people, okay? Or, so you can have a ranked website for artificial grass in Minneapolis. You can have a ranked website for artificial grass in, let's say Scottsdale or Queen Creek or, whatever, somewhere in Arizona. I'm choosing the Queen Creek, baby, because I know that even though Queen Creek's much smaller, that most likely I'm going to get more leads in Queen Creek because it is a climate that serves as such. Or we could even say like Henderson, Nevada. The climate makes more sense. There's more people that do it. It's just more in demand, right? If in Nevada, for example, I've heard that there's a law that's getting passed that by a certain date, you have to have artificial grass because of water, right? So what I'm saying, guys, is population technically doesn't matter. However, there is a strong correlation between the higher the population, the more competitive it's going to be. Why? Because there's more people there, which means it's probably going to attract more competition, right? Because the big dogs are looking at the big cities and they're willing to spend the money. They're willing to spend the marketing budgets to get those leads because they have the ability or they have the capacity to go into that entire city. And they want the Dallas Fort Worths, right? Guys, I don't think that there's like right now in these main boring niches, I'm not even looking at Dallas, right? Maybe there's a deal in Dallas. I'm not going to waste my time in Dallas because I can pretty much guarantee there's not going to be anything in Dallas. Okay. Dallas, Fort Worth, Salt Lake City. Guys, good rule of thumb. If you could see it on the map, if you open up maps, you could see the city, it's probably getting hit pretty hard. Okay. Not just by other lead generators, but by other companies, by other big companies, national companies that want the same leads that you want. So guys, just remember that the lower the population, typically the better it's going to be. However, we want to make sure we have adequate search volume. I'm a big believer in boring niches. I'm a big believer in tried and true niches, concrete, tree service, fencing, spray foam, artificial grass, masonry. Okay, because they've already been tested. And now I don't have to get all these other factors right. I don't have to figure out if the niche works and the city. I just have to find the right city. That's why I'm a big proponent of boring niches. I've made my millions in boring niches. In the same breath, you guys don't have to do concrete. You don't have to do concrete. You can, but just know that concrete, because we've been talking about it for a year, we've been talking about it for 18 months, you're probably going to run into other lead generators. Does that mean this entire business model is saturated? Absolutely freaking not. Does it mean that you can't still go into areas that there are other lead generators? Absolutely freaking not. It doesn't matter if they're a lead generator or it's Bob the plumber. It's just a competitor. Okay. Does it mean that because a lead generation site is ranked that they have a business owner? No, none of those things are true. Okay. But you're going to probably have to, if you're going to see if you don't want to see a lead generator, or you don't want to look through as many cities, then concrete is probably not the one you're going to want to go into. Are there still deals? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's still deals out there. Okay. But if everyone's looking at it, then guys, there's other niches. There's tree service, there's masonry, there's artificial grass, there's spray foam. Okay. These are all juicy niches that have all the criteria.